I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about no contact alone will not get your ex back.
This is important.
Absolutely.
Before we get into it, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions. So if you would like to talk about your situation one-on-one with one of us or learn more about no contact, feel free to go to our website and book from there.
Absolutely. You know, unfortunately, so many people learn the hard way that no contact is not enough to get your ex back and repair the relationship. Mm-hmm. Your relationship didn't work for a reason or many reasons. Now, this is obviously a general video, but many of us have attachment issues and did things to hurt the connection. We all have room for improvement. And you really want to focus on growing and really making an effort, a conscious decision every day, focused on becoming a better version of you, preparing for your ex to come back, while also balancing moving forward and moving on in case they don't. Because not everybody will get a chance with their ex. Mm-hmm. And so if you're only focused on no contact videos, you're not going to be ready to move forward, and you're not going to be ready if they come back.
Right, and we understand that anxiety is very high after a breakup. You know, that's part of how we're wired. We want to repair that connection. But if you are just solely focused on getting them back and neurotically checking their social media and only watching those videos that are like, what is my ex thinking during no contact, then that's not going to lead to success later down the line. No. More than likely, you're going to end up repeating some of those patterns that caused that breakup, and it's not going to benefit you. And so in my experience as a coach, when I'm working with you guys, sometimes I can tell that many of your questions during our session are so focused on how do I get them back and just focused on them instead of you. And so part of my strategy in our call is to bring the attention back on you, what you can do, what you have control over to really put yourself in the best situation. Yes, no contact is super powerful. We really believe in it. We talk about it all of the time, but not just no contact. You can't just sit back, not contact your ex, and expect things to work out when you do reconnect.
Yes. No contact is very powerful, and it does really make your ex miss you and regret the decision and want to repair things. The problem is, if you've only focused on that, how are you ready for when you are in contact, mm-hmm. right? Ultimately, if you're trying to repair things with an ex, it's about contact and making a strong connection. Okay? No contact is to help get you through to the important, challenging component of repairing and making a connection stronger than before.
Right.
But you have to master emotional self-control. You have to learn to communicate better. You have to learn how to meet your partner's needs better. You have to understand what your needs are and be able to communicate. And there are so many components and things that we're trying to teach you on how to have a healthy relationship. The Creative Healing course will change your life. And I'm telling you guys, there is such a huge difference from my clients that are doing it day after day, week after week for months than with the people that are not. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not even close, guys. It's like you have to think, you know, I had a client today and he was really wanting to fix things with his ex, but he had done some really toxic things in his previous relationship. He even wound up with a restraining order. Now, not with the client that I was helping him with, but another one. And that one even contacted his ex and told him what happened.
Wow.
And so one of the things I was trying to get him to see is, look, your ex knows about your history. You especially have got to grow and get to a place where if she considers giving this another chance, she's going to see all these major changes in you. You know, one of the things I told him that he needed to do was he had to go to AA. Now, his drinking had not really been a problem recently. He's been doing much better for it. But I said, look, if your ex reaches out and she's thinking about repairing things and she's saying to him, well, what have you been doing in the last couple months? It's going to look much better to her that he's committed to gone to AA and done that personal growth as to if he doesn't and he's not in therapy. You know what I mean? I mean,
Right.
it's just such a different vibe and feeling about it from her perspective.
And I know that many of you don't even know where to start. It can be really confusing when you're just in no contact and it feels like waiting. Many times we hear from you, okay, so you just want me to do nothing? And that's not what we're talking about at
No.
all. There is plenty that you can do. And really, if you start to step into these different situations, if you start stepping into therapy, stepping into doing things that really do improve your mental health, then you will see the results come. You will see yourself get challenged. And if you think about it, in a healthy relationship, you need that balance of togetherness, but also independence for it to work. And many times after a breakup, I see you all still so stuck on that togetherness that you're not able to work on your own issues and really work through that balance even after the relationship ends for yourself, to really figure out who you are and regain your sense of self.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you get back with your ex or you date somebody else, you're going to have to master closeness and space. And what we're trying to help you do is work on those deep-rooted attachment issues that is really at the core of that. When you really master that, it gives you the ability to master emotional self-control and to be more confident in all of your dating dynamics, whether it's your ex or somebody new. That's the beauty in our approach, is that you're going to work hard on yourself and it's either going to pay off for your ex or someone else. There's a win-win. You don't lose in that situation. You win in that situation, regardless of what happens. And I love that about that, because I know how hard it is to go through a breakup and feel awful and horrible and like life is never going to get better. Well, when you focus on that, it does get better one way or the other. Now, one of the things that we do see, and I hate this, is when an ex comes back and we haven't done the work. People hate that feeling, and it happens. But that's why we're doing this video today on no contact alone does not get your ex back. It might bring them back to you, but that is the easy part, is, not being in contact, because,
Right.
You're
Not triggered in the same ways.
Exactly.
You're triggered in different ways, but
Yeah.
not like as if your ex was in front of you.
You don't have to do all these different moves like a chess match.
Right.
When they do come back, it's more like a chess match, navigating all these moves. You're basically making one move. I'm not reaching out.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, yes, the emotional component is difficult, but when they come back, that's when you're going to have to do a lot of different navigating challenges, trying to reattract them,
Right.
trying to repair a bond and all
In
those.
real time.
Yes.
That's what's hard.
Yes, okay. So I've got an email coaching today from somebody who wanted to share a success story, but she went through it, right? Let's see. You'll see what I mean here. They said, "Hello, Coach Craig and Coach Victoria. My name is Sophie, and I've been a fan of your channel for the past few years. I've had a couple of Skype coachings with Craig, and since my painful breakup in 2022, I've grown tremendously." Okay, but watch what happened here. "I owe so much of this growth to the content you've generously shared, the creative healing course, and the Skype and email sessions we've had. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and share my success story. English isn't my native language, and I didn't excel in college writing classes, so I apologize if there are any grammatical mistakes here and there. In September of 2022, my former partner broke up with me, saying we weren't compatible and that he had lost all feelings." Okay, so that's a common reason we hear for a breakup, right? So already it makes me think that she probably had a lot of anxiety, maybe was controlling and manipulative, and he was probably avoidant, just off of that alone. I mean, we've been doing this a long time.
Something that typically happens.
Yeah. He seemed certain about his decision, and he made it clear that he knew himself well enough to be sure it wouldn't work. Right? We hear this all the time. This is standard stuff. During the breakup conversation, I did plead, cry, and ask for another chance. However, the next day, I accepted the breakup out of respect for both myself and his free will. Boy, she did better than most already right
next
there.
Day.
Yeah.
Props.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, right? A few months later, I discovered Coach Craig's channel and naturally became obsessed with all the no contact videos, like we said at the start of the call, right?
It happens.
Okay. I had a Skype session with Coach Craig, whose advice calmed my nerves and helped me focus on what I could control. I started therapy and enrolled in the creative healing course shortly afterward. Through the course and therapy sessions, I was able to understand where my relationship had gone wrong and who I was in it. This insight helped ease my anxiety because I knew I was working to better myself. About 6 months after the breakup, so much of this is textbook stuff, right? 6 months after the breakup, avoidance usually, they love that time. They always come back around that time. I heard from my former partner, almost exactly as Coach Craig had predicted. Unfortunately, I wasn't fully prepared when he reached out and we didn't get back together. So, it's so disheartening when that amount of time goes by. We don't know how much or how little she was working on the course or on herself, but you really want to over-prepare. I really like to over-prepare for stuff because I don't want to let that opportunity go by and feel like, oh, I wish I had done more.
Right. And sometimes they come back when you least expect it, when you have your guard down and thinking, okay, well, nobody's taking a look at my unhealthy habits and patterns right now. You kind of slip back into it. And then you hear from them, and then you're taken off guard.
Yeah,
and
you
so
know,
it happens.
You know what happens a lot is that people are motivated in the beginning. You're going through it in the beginning. Then you kind of feel like, oh, it's getting hopeless. They're not going to come back. And you give up on it. And then before you know it, they come back. And you're like, oh, no, I'm not ready now.
Or sometimes you see how warm they are when they reach out or you're starting to have conversation. And you get almost deluded into thinking, okay, then I can just be myself.
Yes.
I can just go off and overshare and
Yes.
take this and run with this.
Not stick to the
So,
strategies.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
and that's exactly what you're going to see here. Watch what happens.
And we're not saying don't be yourself, but we're just saying, be strategic and really think about how your anxiety shows up when you approach your ex.
Yeah. She says, looking back, I realized it was because I showed too much eagerness and he hadn't grown at all since our breakup. Okay. So those two things together are really going to hurt repairing it, especially being too eager. Now, I don't remember the situation, but he's probably avoidant. And so being too eager with an avoidant, he's going to run away again.
Yeah.
Right?
And I like how she pointed out that he hadn't grown either.
Yeah.
Because she would be able to tell if his response was a little bit more empathetic, was warmer, was different, more understanding, maybe trying to figure out more of what was going on, things could have been different. So this is a dynamic, but I see here she had control of how eager she approached him.
Yes. You got to be careful about that. Very careful. He continued to breadcrumb me after that initial contact, but I put a stop to it by standing up for myself. It was too painful to keep wanting someone who didn't value me and treated me as an option. So she probably got to that boundaries section of the creative healing course that Coach Victoria went a little out of control with.
It's important. I don't think I went out of control at all.
I remember like, oh my God, Victoria, there's so much.
I thought there was not enough.
I think we took some of it out, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, it was a lot.
We just tried to make it more brief.
Yeah, it was a lot.
An issue with lengthiness,
I'm not touching that one. In September of 2023, I faced a very difficult decision. I was attacked and injured by someone who broke into my apartment.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
horrible, right?
That's traumatic.
After that, I moved back to my home state to recover where my parents live. Before I left the city, I learned that my ex had started dating someone else. I asked him to stop contacting me so I could heal and find peace.
Wow.
That's horrible, right? She was going through a lot. Almost a year later, in August of 2024, he reached out again. Wanting to catch up and talk over the phone, he shared that he had broken up with his partner because they wrecked, not compatible, and fought often. Remember, she said that English wasn't her first language. This time, I approached the conversation from a place of love, forgiveness, understanding, empathy, and a clear mind. Now, you can see she must have done a lot of work to come from that place.
Especially after her experiences.
Yeah.
It probably was very difficult for her to feel safe at all. And sometimes when somebody's sense of safety is threatened, that affects how they interact with other people.
Yeah.
A lot of people could go into a depression, could be super anxious, could be more irritable after something like that.
For sure.
So for her to
Traumatized.
be able to approach him with that warmth, I think is amazing.
So it shows you that the first breakup, she wasn't prepared. She was too eager, but now look, she's patient, forgiving, understanding, empathetic, and has a clear mind. No longer anxious like she was that first time around. I suggested him to look up attachment styles and continue therapy. It is because from all the work I have done and all the therapy I have gone to, I realize that most likely we are trying the best decision to be happy with what we know at the time without the intention to hurt our partner. And I agree with that. I think for the most part, people are doing their best. They don't realize how their anxiety is causing them to be selfish and self-absorbed and anxious and controlling and manipulative. But when you come to the channel and we're starting to educate you guys on that, it can be really eye-opening, you know?
Yeah.
While I'll never forget the pain of the breakup, it doesn't hurt me anymore. I've used that pain to grow and improve myself, which is probably one of my favorite things about a breakup, is that there's something about us that we really want to change.
Yeah.
Right?
It gives you a lot of energy sometimes.
But it's like we're so focused to change that we haven't had that desire or drive before, but then in the breakup you're like, I will do everything in my power.
Yeah, you see things totally differently.
Yeah, I love that. And that's why we try and use that to help you. Without it, I don't think I would have found the motivation to make these positive changes. Today, my former partner and I still keep in touch occasionally. We've even had meaningful conversations about attachment styles and personal growth, and he's begun working on himself.
Sounds like the best possible scenario.
Yeah. Thank you, Coach Craig, Victoria, and Coach Margaret. I know she'd love to hear my success story too. May the force be with you, Sophie. Well, that is a great success story because she's gotten to a great place. Okay, unfortunately, she didn't have the opportunity to turn it around the first time because she was too eager. It sounds like she's really healed and she's much happier since that breakup. And now they're communicating. Who knows what will happen in the future? I mean, he's now working on himself. They're able to communicate in a more enlightened, patient way with each other. And maybe that will lead to another opportunity in the future. But regardless of what happens with him, look at how much she's changed her life.
And I think this is a great example of you don't have to be perfect in order to have a success story. You know, in this situation, she was able to recognize maybe her eagerness in that moment, how the timing just wasn't right for her. But later on, she was able to adjust, correct, learn, and grow from it. And I say this is the ideal situation because he also has learned and grown from this too. So that is what we want, to be able to learn through our connections, to be able to learn even through our separations. And so it seems like they've been able to do this well. The future is uncertain. Who knows what will happen next? But it seems like she and he are both in much better places for a healthy relationship. And it seems like right now they have a very healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Albeit it's not romantic, it doesn't seem like. It seems like they, interact with each other every once in a while, and that can be okay for them.
Yeah.
That can be a success.
Absolutely.
So success can look very different in different people.
But one of the important components to this situation is how hard she worked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you can see that no contact makes people come back all the time. But you have to be ready for it. And the first time around, she wasn't really ready. But he disappeared, came back again. And now they're communicating. Maybe it will lead to another opportunity. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe she doesn't even want one. She didn't say either way. But look at how much she's changed her life and how good she feels about it. Mm-hmm. The way she describes things is like what we want for everybody to learn and to grow through this. Now, I know everybody wants an opportunity with their ex. Totally understand. But doing the work in no contact is just as important, if not more important, than actually just doing no contact.
I would agree.
I
would agree. And just seeing how she's handled the second situation. When he reached out, she handled it with love, with patience, with understanding. So that really was a great example of her using those skills. I think back to that very classic Margaret quote, which I think about often, where she says, "You don't know what your issues are until somebody tries to love you." I think this is very true.
Yep.
That first time, it was early for her. She was still in the process. But she was able to do the work, and she really stuck to it, and it paid off.
Absolutely. A lot of great stuff here. And I just want to hammer home, guys, that you really want to focus on healing your attachment issues. I have a whole playlist called Be a Master in Relationships and another one called Understanding Attachment Styles. People want to watch no contact videos, but if you really are putting yourself in the best position to turn it around, you got to watch those other videos. Mm-hmm. The ones that you feel like skipping over because you get all excited about what my ex is thinking about no contact. Okay, I get it. Mm-hmm. But you have to find that balance. Otherwise, you're not going to be ready when they do reach out.
Right. And you have to be self-reflective. One thing that I love is that she was aware enough to recognize where she may have gone wrong. So we're hoping the same for you too, as you go through your journey in this breakup, to recognize, okay, here are my areas of growth, and here are the things that I'm very good at, and I know I can do well. So
hopefully this one's been helpful to you, and she has a great success story. Of course, we love to hear yours too. You can always email us on the website. If you'd like to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.